Well, how do you do, folks? We are here. So the first game, uh, we're playing. Um, hold on a second. Let me just put this up a quick screen. All right, folks. So I guess you can hear me now. This is great. Okay. So what I was saying before is that, hold on a second, I'm like, what I was saying before is basically like I am the owner of Nalley II. I'm the producer of Soconnex. Also, I am the producer of E Likey, which is producing this live stream. E Likey is a subsidiary of Soconnex, and Soconnex is a subsidiary of Nalley, yada, 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 stuff like that. Basically, I wanted to kind of revamp my whole brand and stuff and kind of start from the bottom and just build myself. One of the things I like to do is I like to play mobile games and stuff like that. And just recently, I found I could transfer like one of my favorite mobile games onto my computer and then hook my HDI cable and play it on the big screen. So right now I'm playing 56 inches of Mech Arena Glorious. That's right now stuck in 21. Um, but ultimately, yeah, let's get into it, folks. So basically, I wanted to start off with nothing. I just want to show you guys my process on how I build and build my team. Those type of things, what type of weapons I select, and things like that. I could definitely say there has been a lot of different changes since I had really started playing. I was playing back when there were no commercials on the platform. There were no commercials. There was no pay to play, none of that. You could buy certain things and stuff, but you had a good chance of doing what you need to do to win. Now it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's so much like pay to play. There is a bit of that, but I think there's enough of an edge where you can play your skill and get some wins in where it's still fun. So it's not all about the money on this game. I have played some um, different variations of games where it was very much you needed to pay to win type of situation to really kind of compete and everything like that. So right now we're going to get into building my team. So I think we're going to go with we gotta get in closer because apparently like can't use a controller to use that. So right now I think I'm gonna go with of course my favorite guy. I think I would love this guy since ever. If you are an avid player and different things like that, you know who I'm talking about, the OG character. I like this character because he's always good. He's always, capable. And like every time I had an upgrade and just things like that, like a upgraded character, there have been a couple times where I get like bigger weapons than I would have had. Like I got a 16 rocket, I think a 16 voltage rocket. I can't remember the name of it, but the blue rockets. I got 16 of those. I couldn't use them for a while until, well, I would say I couldn't use them with an additional weapon. I could only use it by itself. I could buy onto an upgraded Paragon, and then like one thing I found out about Paragon is there's a couple robots on the platform that's been around for a long time, so their upgrades got decreased a lot. I think like an upgraded Paragon like 3 times in one day, and they cost the same amount to upgrade Kill Shot. So yeah, it was a pretty cool thing. So now I got an upgrade to be like a 32. I have a power consumption about 32. So you get some 216s on there, which I usually do. So let's get into that. Let's see. So like I said, these rockets. I think these rockets. Well, we're not going to be playing with those. So Go up here, sort it out. No, got some clothes, a lot of cool things. But the one I want right here is this shot. I love these guys. This is kind of be the job. And you couldn't have a proper, loadout with this character. If me personally, if you don't have an assault, I think missiles and assault. I think that's the best combination you're going to get. There's lots of other combinations that are really super and really amazing. But my personal favorite is the missiles, or rockets, and an assault. So it's very different times. There's all kinds of different ways to go about it. I can show you a few of them to kind of give you an idea. Like this fusion cannon, I just recently got that. Um, I kind of dig it, but it reminds me of like the old school, well, let me see, um, these joints right here. It reminds me like a more powerful version of these. Not that I don't like them, but it takes a while to get them kind of powered up. And I didn't particularly care for that, so I kind of moved on fast. But let's go down here and really kind of get to building this thing up. So a quick way, if you haven't learned about this whole technique, you can go over here and you can kind of select like what kind of power output you want for the weapons and stuff like that. So I'm looking for a 16 and I'm looking for assault. And, it brings up that weapon I just shows you those weapons. But the weapon we were looking for is the Big Daddy itself right here. These are the Reavers. Oh my God. These get the killing done right here. I can say that. They get the killing done. If you want to blow up rollers on mass spectacular, on large quantities, these right here, the Reaver 16s, will get it done. I tell you what. So we're going to go ahead and load those on. Equip those. So bam, we equipped those. So now we want to pick a pilot. And luckily, like I got on them when, of course they was giving out these two pilots and stuff. So these two basically have two slots and usually this guy right here, yeah, he has assault and missiles. This is one of the bigger reasons that I kind of use this guy because he uses missiles and loadout. And as you can see, he already is equipped with the proper implants to work to get the most out of the setup that I have and stuff. The reavers and the missiles and different things like that. So we got that going. So we got so we're gonna go ahead and clear. Okay. So I think for this particular, I think we're going to go with some of my favorite robots, and we'll kind of talk about them as we go. I want to say, and then like for me, like I like symmetry in the way I set my robots. So I usually pick like whatever robot I picked here. I usually put them like over here and over here. Just kind of looking good. So we're gonna go ahead and put another, robot of the same class. I know I have been having some success with where is he at? He's a favorite. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put in my favorite, this guy right here. I like the little mirror set. Like I said, that's $1,200. Like I said, I upgraded Paragon 3 times for this price. Now it's pretty awesome. I still have to pay some coins and things like that and clean, but it was pretty good to kind of get that upgrade for such a low price and everything. I think this one has come down because that was like 14 or something like that earlier. So hopefully this will be down soon. To kind of get this one upgraded and stuff. Then go ahead. One reason why I like Panthers is very much the shield. There's been quite a few times where I've been playing, and that shield saved my life because somebody was coming in. I only had 2 bars, and I hit him with the shield, slowed him down. It was able to hit me, so now blew him to smithereens. So we're gonna go with my classic loadout for this guy, which is has some sniper, a nice little sniper. One of my favorite. I think it's the EMP. Um, this team. Yeah, let me see Flip that. No, not the long one. Usually put the in there. I must a little bit of difficulties right. Sometimes this thing goes. cattywampus. Okay, there we go. And of course, my personal favorite, when you get into, the assault weapons. And this is just my personal thing. If the makers of this game is listening, I would love, 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 love to see um, a 16 variant of this particular weapon that I'm about to show you, which is, I think, one of my favorites since I played. I don't use that much anymore, but I have like a 4 and a 6 and an 8 of this one. If they had like a 16 or a 12 or a 10, that would be spectacular. So, it'd be nice if y'all would get on that type of thing. Um, because it's pretty much operates like a machine gun type of shit. So you could really kind of mow down a lot of people, especially if you get it like upgraded real well and everything like that. So then you go ahead and whip that fella. And for a pilot, I just recently got a new pilot. This stuff is really, it makes it so much easier to do this. Um, yeah, so you can go ahead and pick this guy with the cool hat. Mhm. Here, what is it doing? These are pretty. I kind of dig the weapons that I'm changing out these weapons, but they're just a little bit slow for me. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this a little bit more punch to it. I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's some rifle. And get that some more a little bit more punch, and then of course we got Panther Shield. I'm going to go ahead and get that nice little set up for that. So, yeah. Okay, so now we're on to what else do we got? Check the stream, folks. Need to make sure everything is going good on the stream. We've not been live this whole time. We're live. Hey, there we go. There we go. Yeah, yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Mm, Yeah, this is like new territory for me. I've this is the first game I've ever streamed, so we're gonna figure it out as we go. But you can make mistakes, you figure it out, and you do your best to kind of get things moving. So, who's gonna be the third robot? Let's see who we got. I think we're gonna put in a kind of a newbie, Bastion. I kind of dig him. And I just got some missiles that I think would be quite nice. I don't know. It's either the Savants or these other missiles. But I think I might go with the Savants. I think that's what they're called. That's what I call them. That may be not the technical name for them. Let's see, Savant, one or two. But we're gonna go ahead and pick those. I kind of like to use like at least like three slots so I could get two for my weapons and like one for my ability and everything like that to kind of round out my character and stuff. But I think this particular, let me see what they got. Oh, they did get some more. That's cool. Yeah, that's what we got. Some of these things. Okay. And then what I probably enjoying on the fashion shield, farm, shield damage. All right, so where are we at? We only got two more robots to go. I guess in this particular situation, we would probably go with a couple like speeders, some runners type of thing. I call it runners, call it support next, But I consider like kill shot and I think it's I can't remember the other one. But I consider like the rolling robots. I call those like speedy robots because they got the smash. Most of them got like smash. One's got a single smash. The other one got a double smash type of thing. But both are pretty cool if you know how to work them real good. So we're gonna go ahead. I hate that guy. I, I hate him. I think he's like a knockoff. I don't really particularly care for him. Um, or this guy. I think that's a knockoff of Panther. I don't particularly care for that guy either. I know you could probably get, kind of get some. I don't know. They probably got some special things that Killshot doesn't have, but no, I'm good. So I think we're gonna go with this little guy. I haven't used him that much, and like I said, we're going for classic loadout. So I think probably like the Ember guns will probably be good for him. So let's see, Ember guns, sixes. Okay, right. There you go. Got some Ember gun sixes rocking. Force floater. It's gonna be. Uh, what's- Oh, and he's already set up. See, sometimes things are already set up because, like, it just be like I use a particular setup and I just keep particular things just the way they are, so I don't really have to worry about it too much. So I guess what's going to be the last robot? This is always the hard choice because, like, you kind of want to have like a good rounded out team. You want to have some people like me personally. I think you should always have at least one person who can either run real fast or just move real fast, so you could really kind of get some, out the gate, you get some good deals, because you got the speed on your side and things like that. I also think it's good to have like a robot that kind of sits back, either a sniper robot or artillery robot that can kind of like help the enemies with something from a distance, things like that, And then you could kind of get into kind of variations. Always kind of have like a close quarter robot, a missile robot, and different things like that. So I think right now we're probably going to go with probably a good missile robot. Maybe not a missile robot. We're going to see because I think if I'm gonna do what I'm going to do, did I already put in one there? Yeah, I didn't remember. This little guy right here, we're gonna go with him. Actually, gonna go with him or him. Should I do want to kind of use the robot chicken skin. I like that. Or the chicken skin, I like that skin. And I like the unicorn skin. Those are both two of my favorites. But yeah, let's go with him. Just to kind of like, and I got him all the way up to from where he's um way more powerful than he should be. And I think I'm gonna go with a setup that I've been pretty much enjoying. Let's see if you got to. Okay, so we got the unicorn skin on. So we're gonna go with one of my particular favorite setups. We got another duty, the miniguns, fire. Well, that's what we're going for. Top fire. So, yeah. So, so, yeah. Okay. So, and for this guy, I think he's already loaded up with the fire. Not quite. So let's go there. Yeah. Like that. Sorry if I'm not looking at you trying to get this together. So, yeah. Let's see. So back, so back. Well, there it is, folks. That's my team for right now. This is kind of my squad that I'm rolling with. I'm a little bit excited. It's the first time I'll be playing online and everything like that. But so one thing I found about Mech Arena that kind of I very much enjoy. Let me go back to your piece here real quick. Uh, okay. Yeah, hello, hello, hello. Well, at least you can hear me. I don't know what's going on with the camera right now. Some technical issues. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, I guess we can keep on moving forward and everything like that and figure that out later. So we're just gonna go ahead and delete. This. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Move this over a little bit. Get that in there. All right, so here we go. All right, folks. So who's ready to murder some robots? If you're on here, you're probably like the murder robots. We got, let's see, we got one person watching. Thanks for watching. So let's get it started. Um, let's get a nice full screen of what we're doing. So here's the battle button. I think we'll go ahead. I'm going to get, kind of exhaust on my tournament tickets today. So I think that's what we're going to be doing. See how that goes. Maybe get some coins and different things like that. Um, I don't particularly like the way that they're doing the tournaments now. Before it was just kind of like you get up to like 12 tickets or whatever, and then you could play as many as you want and stuff. But I guess realistically it kind of makes sense because like I know there was times where I did not play the game particularly because of that thing. I didn't have any tickets. So I guess it kind of makes sense, an idea that they want to kind of revamp it so more people will play a particular game or whatever. So let's get it going. So we're going to start off with, I think we're going to start off with the unicorn man. So yeah, I kind of like this guy. I'm more of like the simple characters that just work more so than the complicated ones. You gotta have. I'm gonna say complicated. Not really too many are complicated, but some of their mechanics are. I don't know. It's strange. That didn't go well. Sometimes I just go in headlong. Other times I kind of play to win. Right now I'm kind of just enjoying myself. To kind of enjoy the experience and stuff. I know we're doing tournament play, but right now I think it's just kind of working out the kinks in the whole situation. Because it's like eventually I want to get to a point where I can maybe bring on other players and stuff to kind of see how fast you just wipe that character out. Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird game, but right now we're still up, so we got a chance. I kind of want some of those, the beams, the burrow beams. Those are pretty cool. That's just like get one of my favorites. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Kind of talking and playing at the same time. It's not something I usually do. I find it kind of distracting to kind of do that. So we're gonna figure out how to do it, and especially seeing how like I'm still getting used to playing with a playing this game with an XY controller. So, that's a little wonky too. But, I'm getting it together. I think I had to turn down the sensitivity a little bit. So, it's going good. But yeah. So I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about on the show today was kind of like, well, some things that, my thoughts on, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I thought that was that was an amazing movie. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Um, I definitely can say one of the things I was looking forward to was really kind of like particular character being in the movie. I guess I could, this is spoiler territory, but Jean Grey was in the movie, and I think and that kind of gave me an idea of where they're going with the X-Men. And I don't think they're going to be doing like the typical thing, that we're used to with the X-Men and stuff, and the idea that it won't be pulling, I don't think it will be pulling directly from the comic book. I think, the X-Men in this particular MCU will be quite different than what we're used to, just judging because I don't recall Jean Grey ever having like a sister who had mental powers and stuff. That was one of the elements of the movie. That I thought was pretty interesting. At first, I was like, "Oh, they're doing Jean Grey dirty," but then the more I got into the story, they just really kind of wanted to do something different from what's already out there and stuff. And I'm sure there's some kind of variations in the comic book where Jean Grey has a sister who has psychic powers and stuff, but I don't know that particular character. But one character in the movie that kind of played in my brain with a little bit until I find out a little bit more information about it was Mesker, the Mesker guy, William Mesker. That's that guy's going to be. I think he's going to be a big player in the X-Men saga. Because in the comic book, after I did some little bit of research, he started out being an anti-mutant activist and everything like that. And then he moved on to kind of making his own paper and everything. And then he got a little bit more sadistic as time went on and stuff. So it's going to be kind of cool to see how they play with these characters and stuff. I can say like one of the characters I'm looking for seeing, is kind of like Nightcrawler, I would say, because Nightcrawler outside of I want to say like all the X Men have to like their triple pass, but I think like Nightcrawler specifically has a pretty interesting path to me because he has a very religious element to him, being a mutant. Um, kind of playing around with like different elements of like decision versus destiny, different things like that. So it would be cool to kind of see Nightcrawler, how they kind of play him and different things like that. Another cool character that would probably be kind of interesting would be like, especially like if rumor has it, they're going to do like a apocalypse, then it would be like, okay, so it would be like, okay, so what you gonna do with this guy? Because if rumors are to be had correctly, I believe they were saying The Rock might be playing um, Apocalypse, which I guess it could be interesting to see him do that. I've seen some movies where he does got some pretty good acting chops. I think. I don't think the roles that he gets really kind of plays to like his strengths as much as they could. And from what I heard, he has a clause in his contract that makes it where he can't get beat in a movie, which kind of sucks for him because I think a lot of characters, when they really do have that element, they can lose. It really kind of elevates like the acting and different things like that. But a lot of the stuff that I'm saying as far as like him having a clause that says they can't lose, all kind of hearsay. I don't know for sure, but I've heard that many times, so it could be true, it could be not. But even if it's the thing where Rock could is going to play Apocalypse. I think you could do it. Just based off of Southland Tales and I think it was Get Shorty or Get Be Cool, I think it was, with John Travolta. He did play a little bit of a weird character to me, but I think because he's able to have the acting chops and he wasn't just playing like the buff character and stuff, he was able to play a different type of version of himself. And that tells me that he does have kind of the chops to do what he's trying to do as far as like be a serious actor in a way. Like could he be like a Marlon Brando or something like that? I don't think so. But could he be a really good action star? That really can portray like new characters. I think he could do it. I think he could really do it. I think like I don't think Black Adam was the best showing of his talents and idea. Like it just a lot of what they did, I think as far as the story, maybe due to his, ego or whatever, I think kind of did the franchise in before it got started. Because I think like to me, it feels like you can't have Black Adam without Shazam. I think they did a disservice by not including Black Adam in the story in Shazam's story. I'm sure uh, realistically in the long run, it was probably the good thing considering what's going on with Zachary Levi at the moment. So something when I was doing a good thing, bad thing, hindsight 2020 and all things like that. So, I think it has potential. I think the X-Men has potential to be something really amazing that we had never seen before. And if it is rumored that The Rock is playing Apocalypse, like I said, I think it could be a pretty cool scenario. It could be pretty good. If you haven't saw Southland's Tales, I would definitely recommend watching it. It's kind of like an awkward show or awkward movie, kind of about like the end of the world and different things like that. It featured like a rock and a few other actors and different things like that. But I think the character he played was so varied. Like it went from kind of being unsure of himself to like being more confident. Showing different variations and things. You know, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for him to advance in his ability to play, different characters and different things like that. So, beyond that, I think as far as like Spider-Man, I think there was like some little things, that could play a big part in the whole X-Men saga that started with Spider-Man. One of the things was the inhibitor thing, the thing that Spider-Man created for himself to kind of control his powers while he was going through the transition and stuff. Um, the reason why I say that is because like one of the biggest elements that caused the most headaches for the X Men was the inhibitor cards. The thing that took away their powers and stuff. And to know that Spider Man had a hand in creating that, that's some deep stuff. Because historically in the comic book, Spider Man has kind of been a hero of the mutants in the idea that he championed the mutants. He wasn't really too much like I know in like I think it was during the Krakoa situation. They respected Spider Man and Peter Parker and what he's done, but it was like you're a mutate, you're not a mutant. So they couldn't allow him on the island and stuff, you know. So, but overall, I think they really respect Spider-Man. So it's going to be see how this plays out. With him creating such a device as the inhibitor collar, and in getting the one that he was wearing that wasn't able to manipulate anybody but it was able to kind of be able to, reverse engineer because it was left in the damage control building. So, and it was up to some pretty shady things. So it's going to be pretty cool to see where that goes with that particular situation, you know. Um, so there's different elements at play. And then, the end credit scenes was pretty interesting, because it showed it identified a particular Spider-Man. Oh, I'm so tired. I woke up early. I was so excited about this stream. I didn't get enough sleep last night, but yeah, I think the end credit scene is very ambiguous. I don't really want to speculate. I can say the character that I want in there. Um, I'll get harder today. Kind of tired of this stuff. But like I said, this is kind of the first one. So I'm gonna be a little quiet. I'm gonna, focus in real quick and get some kills in real quick. Not working out for me today. Mm. I don't know if I'll be able to play as long as I want because I'm so tired. I didn't know. It just kind of all hit me in a wave and stuff. Wow, interesting. How did that happen? I get this win after all. At least I got the camaraderie assist. That's always all right. I guess too, one of the things I'm going to be doing in later times is probably getting in some Fortnite. Really kind of getting that because I just got my what is that called? I got my gamer account basically for people who make Fortnite and stuff. So that basically allows me to access my PlayStation account, my Xbox account, all in one place and things like that. So I could play with my Xbox profile or my PlayStation profile and stuff like that. And I could also play with just my I think I could play with my you just my basic Fortnite profile. So yeah. But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff. Okay, we got three left. So I'll probably play like a couple more matches. I don't know if I'll play the full eight, because I am getting kind of tired. I don't know why I'm getting so tired. I know the last time I did a live stream, for some reason I got super tired. I don't know. Maybe it's just like all the excitement and then I get to do it and now I'm tired. I don't know. But it's one of those things, like I said, it takes practice to kind of get this whole live stream situation going correctly. But this is like the first one, like I said multiple times. So we're going to continue to push forward. Actually, I think this will probably be like my last match. Maybe let's see. If I get a win in, then I'll play again. Let's say that. If I get a win in, I'll play again. But if I die, it's over. Team is definitely picking up the slack. I know I'm just getting no wins in. So the team is definitely picking it up. Okay, but at least I dropped it. The mirror screen from the screen. Let's see if we can get some wins in. With the thing. With the paganism. Well, who's ever watching, thanks for watching. If you have any ideas or games to play, you would definitely be free to share them. Myself up. I'm gonna start off with the fire unicorn. I like to give my loadouts names and stuff. I think it's just fun to kind of like I imagine different things. I know sometimes I imagine that like I'm fighting with like my team to kind of save the kingdom from whatever invading or whatever like that, or any number of things. I think I don't know. Playing this game makes me think of like my toys when I was a kid. I guess that's the way I look at it. So I like to imagine just kind of playing, because I grew up in the age where you had to actually play with your toys. The toys didn't play with themselves and stuff. There wasn't video games to play. A lot of video games. We had things like the Atari and Pong and different things like that. So, it's definitely different times. But I definitely say like this game definitely brings back memories to like G.I. Joe toys, Robotech toys and stuff like that, I used to play with. Like this one looks like the kind of looks like the bad guys in Robotech. But I could definitely say that's one thing I do like about the Savants is they're kind of multi-directional, where you could fly around at any angle and they'll hit the target as long as you got it clear and do it. So yeah, and I think at this time it does start to come into play where pay to play is a situation. Because as you can tell, some of these people have like very powerful weapons, and you see some of the prices of these weapons, and they're like $20, $30, to get them. But they do. I can say they are good about running some good sales on weaponry and stuff, robots and stuff to compete. You could very much find a really deadly robot or some deadly weapons for like anywhere from like $1.99 to $4.99 in the store and different things. And when like when you close up with that and stuff. So why it is pay to play, they do have a low threshold for entry. So I guess that's good. Um, but I think for me, one reason why I still play this game, even though there is like, kind of like a very much heavy pay to play type of situation, is because, it's also about kind of building up your stats and different things, building up your skills, and really kind of making some really good things. And also too, you could really kind of build up a nice little good team, a good, team that can go in there and kind of put it down. So there's lots of ways to kind of win on this game. And I think that's the most interesting part about it, despite, certain aspects that you may have to pay for, there's still an opportunity to kind of have fun and play the game and win and stuff. Because there has been times where I've had an old school loadout, with like Paragon and, some miniguns and stuff, a twin pair of miniguns and, wipe out whole teams and stuff. So, it's possible to have a good time, but it does take a reasonable amount of skill to do it. To see if we go for the three top. And I think that's the thing too. One of the things you'll find out in later matches is I'll try to have a loadout for every situation. I think that's a good thing to do, with the three loadouts that we get. Um, because you never know, like this situation, like I couldn't use long range attacks and different things on this particular board because of the low ceiling. What if I had, maybe like a good loadout where I could have like a sniper loadout or a heavy loadout with all tanks or a small loadout where it's all support. All kinds of different ways to really kind of make the game work for you. I'm kind of getting slaughtered right now. I'm so used to just playing with my thumbs, on a screen. That is kind of I'm still kind of adjusting to playing with a controller and stuff. It is fun because I do get to play on the 56-inch screen, which is amazing. I did not think the detail on these robots would be this awesome for like a large screen type of thing. But they scale pretty awesome. They scale pretty dope. So I can't complain too much. But I am getting kind of slaughtered, so we got to pick up the pace and get some murdering going. So, you know. And I guess that is a thing with this particular board. You can get up there and really kind of rain down holy hell on people and stuff, which I think is pretty fun, especially like when you get a good robot to do that. There's a couple of robots that can can't thing. It's just so boring, especially like when you're able to really kind of have a good setup and different things like that. You have cameras, you have maybe get to a point where, I could have like an interview, got two people watching. So thanks for watching, as you can see, I'm getting murdered, but thanks for watching, you know. Um, I'll probably pay up one more match, save the rest of those tournament players for later because I am getting slaughtered and I am tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. Now I took some I've been taking some mental health meds and they do make me kind of tired. If you don't know, I have some mental health issues. I have a little bit of anxiety, not a little bit, a lot of anxiety and depression. But I do take meds and they do kind of make me kind of sleepy sometimes. So maybe they're doing what they need to do. But they're also making me sleepy. So, go ahead and get this last match and I think this will be the last match of the day. So yeah. That is a good name, Moss. But those particular particle beams aren't really that much. You can get those probably with just some regular without the pay. You can get like the in world cash and that you pay with. I think it's like 8 coins and E coins. I think it is something like that. I think like $8 or 9. But there's ways to get weapons. We'll probably go over that. Kind of look at some weapons. That you can get without having to pay. I guess. You know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day. Let's call it a day. I think for the first time out, let's see how many you got. Like you might do this way. Well, we only got two more to go, so let's go ahead and finish out the tickets. No, actually, we got 2 minutes left. So we're gonna play this one more game. Play again. Yeah, we're gonna call it a day. I'll use those last tickets later or something else. I'll call back, and we could look at some of the weapons you can get. Um, go to weapons. Yeah, so you could kind of look at the prices and stuff. Like you get these for like 82. Those are pretty good. I think I got these for like 795 like 8 coins. You know, so there's like lots of weapons like these. Those are pretty awesome. I might give me a pair of those. Those are pretty sweet. You know how to target those. These right here, I think I might get these at some point because I have got put down by those. Those are pretty good if you get some money out. Quiet as kept these disruptors are the business. If you could get those off, the disruptors are where it's at, you know. You can do some sneak attacks with those, coordinate with your friends and stuff, and get that going. I can definitely say, I can definitely say, in the future, if there's a way to kind of include some kind of communication between players, you know, during the game, that would be dope. That would be something I would like to see in this game, is the ability to verbally communicate with my team while I'm playing. For that, you know, stop it and type it and be like, oh, you know, that's not good. You know, another thing, I don't know. Um, I would say, like, is there anything that I would want to change in this game? I can't think of nothing right off the top of my head. I think, you know, having some ways, you know, to win some weaponry, that would probably be cool. You know, a little bit easier, a little bit, you know, higher the statistics ways to win the game, win some weapons and stuff. Because I know you kind of gamble and things with the special crate activity and stuff. And then, like in the season pass, you get some weaponry in there and different lots of different ways. But you know, and then like I know I got two weapons for free just recently that I didn't even know nothing about, and it just popped up. You know, so you know, they are doing the best to kind of level the playing field amongst the players and different things like that. But I definitely can say there is definitely some very heavy play to play type of situation going on. And I know they did go through and kind of debuff some of the more destructive robots and weaponry and things like that to kind of even it out and things like that. So they really are making an effort to kind of make it fun to play for everybody and stuff, you know. But there are their hardcore players and stuff. You know, there are robots that do call upwards of $60 and $99 and things like that. But it's like I think the reality of it is like it's kind of a game designed for, you know, the casual player to play, or if you want to get professional to play. You know, there's you know, developer servers, all kinds of other things. There's all kinds of different ways to kind of play the game. I definitely would recommend, if you would like to kind of, you know, find out more about the game, get involved in communities and things like that. You know, I'm personally in the Facebook group and things like that. You know, those will probably get posted in the Facebook group a little bit later and stuff. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. Let me see what time it is. Oh, we played for a good hour, and so that's yeah, a good long stream and stuff. You know. Um, So yeah, definitely you're looking for more of these. I'm gonna look for ways to kind of, you know, improve the stream, whether it be, you know, getting better, getting my camera equipment set up a little better, or, you know, having, you know, other people on who are more talkative than I, you know, maybe even getting into some tournament play, some, you know, inner office tournament play, an idea, you know, we can skip some folks, you know, maybe build a team, you know, because that is an option on this platform, to build a team of friends and go in and, you know, have at it and stuff. So there's all kinds of ways to kind of play this game, and I kind of dig that. You know, I kind of dig mobile games that really kind of get you kind of engulfed into the game and stuff. You know, another game that I play is World Robots. If you don't know, I like games that you can play with robots. And also like 5v5, you know, game where you can blow stuff up. You know, another game that I play is, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a riding game. Uh, Still Rage, I think it is Still Rage. I kind of dig that game, so we'll probably get into playing that. So all those games we'll probably do some live streaming on and stuff. Well, if we could get them onto my laptop, then we'll probably live streaming. So that'll probably just be Fortnite and Mech Arena at the moment. I think Will Robots have an app where I could download it to my computer, but I'm a little skittish about it because it's like a third party app that's not associated with the Microsoft Store or the Android store or anything. It's like a standalone app. But I did download the Epic app. So, you know, but like I said, you know, check out some of the content that I have. You know, check out, you know, Soconnex. There's some content on here. If you are watching this video someplace else, it's spelled Soconnex. You can find different content, you know, music, live performances or performances. Yeah. Really, revamping free air news to be more, wide reaching and stuff. So there's a lot of different things going on. You know, so as always, have a good day, be blessed, and stay protected. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Mm, mm, mm.